Hello, and welcome to our weekly Torah thought from Mochan Alta and Tzfas. This week is Shabbos Parshas Tetzave, and this week we also started the month of Adar, Mishenichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. Actually, this year we have a double happiness. We have 60 days of joy, being that this day is a leap year. This week's Parsha, Parshas Tetzave, we find that it's the only Parsha since the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu, which Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned at all. And the reason for that is, being that Moshe Rabbeinu, in the time while the Jews came and served the golden calf, Moshe Rabbeinu came and asked Hashem for him to forgive for the Jewish people. And Hashem didn't want to. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, forgive them, or else erase my name from the Torah. We all know the end, that Hashem actually did forgive the Jewish people, but being that Moshe Rabbeinu said to erase his name from the Torah, there is one Parsha which his name is not mentioned, and this is our Parsha, Parshas Tetzave. We find this month, the joy that we have in the month of Adar. When we look at the Gemara for the reason of the joy, Rashi comes and says, why are we so happy in the month of Adar? Being that great miracles happened. Which miracles? The miracles of Purim and the miracles of Pesach. You all asking, what does that mean? The miracle of Pesach is the month of Nisan. What does the Rashi mean by saying that we have to be happy the month of Adar? We have to be happy the month of Adar because the miracles happened, the miracle of Purim and the miracle of Pesach. Secondly, if the whole reason why we're happy is the miracle of Purim, why do we start the joy, the beginning, why we start the joy of Adar at Adar Aleph this year? Now we should wait for Adar Beis, where we actually celebrate Purim, to come and be happy for the month of Adar. Why are we happy this year, 30 days before? The Rebbe explains a very, very interesting idea by saying as follows. We always read Shabbos, Parshas Tetzave, always around the special day which is falls out of this week, Zayin Adar. Zayin Adar, we all know, is the passing day of Moshe Rabbeinu. And to commemorate that, we read Parshas Tetzave, where there Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned. And the question is asked, why is it that we only do things to commemorate the passing of Moshe Rabbeinu? Why don't we do things to commemorate the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu? We all know, when we look back at the miracle of Purim, we all know that the name of Purim comes from the name of a lot. We all know that Haman came and threw a lot, and he wanted to come and bring out his decree on the month, and it fell out to be the month of Adar. And Haman was happy by saying, "Oh, Moshe Rabbeinu passed away that month. Probably the Jewish people have bad luck." But he didn't know that Moshe Rabbeinu was born at that month too. And being that Moshe Rabbeinu was born at that month, that was the reason for his evil decree to be thrown away and for the Jewish people to have victory. So we find the whole the whole celebration of Purim is actually came from the celebration of the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu. So why is it that we don't do anything to commemorate the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu? By understanding that, the Rebbe explains something very interesting. The Gemara says as follows: "Kashem shenichnas of mema'atin b'simcha, kach meshenichnas adar marbim b'simcha." Just like when the month of Av comes, we come and decrease in our simcha. So same too, when it comes to the month of Adar, we have to increase in our simcha. Why do we have to come and decrease in our simcha the month of Av? And here we find two reasons. One thing is because terrible things happened to the Jewish people in the month of Av. The Gemara lists 5 things which happened throughout the history on the beginning of Av, on the 9th of Av. But besides that, the time is a bad time for the Jewish people. When a Jew has a court case with a non-Jew, if it falls out the month of Av, he should try to push it off to a different month. Which month should he push it off to? The month of Adar, because then the Jewish people have an extra mazel. So we find the month of Av being a hard month for the Jewish people, and we also find terrible things happening at that month. So now we could find when it comes to the month of Adar, these two things happen too. We have the month of Adar being an auspicious time, being a time when the Jewish people, their luck, their mazel is high. And also very special miracles happen. The miracle of Purim, and yes, the miracle of Pesach too. What does that mean? The fact that the Jewish people, the fact that the month of Adar has this special thing about it, where the Jewish people have this extra luck, this extra mazel, where does it come from? It actually comes from the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu was born on that day. Being that Moshe Rabbeinu was born on the 7th of Adar, that made the whole month of Adar being an auspicious time, being a time where the Jewish people, their luck, their mazel is high. And that is the reason why the whole miracle of Purim happened, the whole miracle of Purim happened. Being that Moshe Rabbeinu was born in that month, that turned over the gezerah, the decree that Haman had. And the miracle of Pesach, because we all know, how did the miracle of Pesach came about? Through Moshe Rabbeinu. So, comes out that the whole happiness of the month of Adar, Mishanichnas Adar Marbin B'Simcha, when does that come? When does that fall on? It falls on the actual birth it comes from the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's why when it comes to the celebration of the month of Adar, when do we start our celebration? We start our celebration on the first of Adar, on Adar Aleph. Why is that? Because we know that when it comes to the passing, when did Moshe Rabbeinu pass away? He passed away on 7th of Adar, and it's known that it was then a leap year too, and he actually passed away on Adar Aleph, on Adar Aleph. When it came to his birth too, the Medrash says that the same day Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, the same day he was born. So if we know that he passed away on Adar Aleph, on the first Adar, probably his birth was also on the first of Adar. So if the whole reason for the joy, the whole reason for all the miracles, the whole reason why the Jewish people have such a great mazel is because the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu was born on Zayin Adar, on the 7th of Adar, which Adar? Adar Aleph. So now when it comes to leap year, when do we start our simcha? When do we start our joy? When do we start the fact that we're happy about who we are as Jewish people, and the fact that our mazel is great at this month? It starts from now, from Adar Aleph. And now, when it comes to reading of the parsha of Parshas Tetzave, yes, our parsha is the only parsha which Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned, and that is to commemorate the passing of Moshe Rabbeinu. When it comes to a tzaddik, which day is greater? Is the birth of a tzaddik greater, or the passing day of a tzaddik greater? On one hand, you could say the birth, because that's when the neshama came down to this world. That's when the godly light came down to this world, and that's when the celebration starts. But on the other hand, you could also look at it that the passing of Moshe Rabbeinu is greater, because by a passing of a tzaddik, then we see what he accomplished throughout his time being down here in this world. So Moshe Rabbeinu's passing is not a sad moment. But Moshe Rabbeinu's passing is actually a time when we could come and reflect on what he actually accomplished, who Moshe Rabbeinu exactly was. So therefore, when we point out the passing of Moshe Rabbeinu, we're not pointing out a sad thing, but we're actually pointing out a celebration. We're pointing out a happy thing. We're pointing out who Moshe Rabbeinu was, what did he stand for, and what did he actually cause to the Jewish people. He is the cause for the miracle of Purim and for the miracle of Pesach. When it comes to Parshas Tetzave, yes, Moshe Rabbeinu's name is not mentioned, but in essence, what are the first few words in the parsha? Ve'ata Tetzave b'nei Yisrael. Who is Ata referred to? Ata refers to Moshe Rabbeinu. So it comes out that Moshe Rabbeinu, on one hand, his name is not mentioned, but really, his essence is mentioned, because Ata refers to the essence of Moshe Rabbeinu. So every word of the parsha is really words which came directly from Moshe Rabbeinu. So we live with Moshe Rabbeinu in this week's parsha in a much deeper level, not just in a name, in an external way, but actually in a much more internal way. And that is the explanation of this week's parsha, Parshas Tetzave, and the explanation why we start our celebration, Mishanichnas Adar Marbin B'Simcha, right now, another Aleph. We have 60 days of joy. Let's come and utilize the time. Let's be joyous. And we all know through joy will come and hasten the coming of Mashiach very, very soon in our days. Have a good Shabbos and a happy month of Adar.